What's going on there, YouTube?
What's up out there, YouTube?
This is SEL0320.
Joe Johnson 030.
We are back, JBS, for a brand new movie review. Surprisingly, this is an animated film that actually we both enjoyed. It's from the makers of, if you've seen these movies, Summer Wars and Wolf Children. They are back for a brand new movie called The Boy and the Beast. And oh my gosh, it was so different. The thing that I think, before I got into the movies, I was thinking that this is just going to be kind of like a rehash or a merger of what we've seen before within these two movies. Because they're really emotionally driven movies, but then they're really exciting, well-paced. And I was thinking it would just kind of be like a knockoff of those. But this is its own story. And it's really detailed. And the director... oh, by the way, I'm going to get these names so wrong. So don't blame me or Joe if we get the names kind of out of order. Mamoru Hosoda. He's the one that's the director that came up. He's a visionary. He's a writer from these awesome stories, and this was no exception to that. What was your take on just like going into the movie?
Well, going into the movie, I mean, I didn't really know it was going to be this good.
Yeah.
After watching it, but I mean, I still, based on like what I've seen, I was interested in watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, the trailers do a good job. You know, I thought it was going to be in like an intriguing story, how a kid would interact with this. You know, this orphan kid would kind of interact with this this beast or this bear-looking guy. Yeah. So, based on that, I was intrigued. The movie does a good job.
It does a really good job. We're gonna break it down, talk about like the visuals as far as how does it compare to other animes. We're gonna talk about the performances,
yeah,
and then we're gonna talk about the story in general.
We'll talk about everything.
I'm gonna lead. This is just gonna be a non-spoiler review, so you don't have to worry about any spoilers. The disclaimer is, for the plot, is when a young orphan boy living in the streets of, I'm getting the words wrong, Shibuya, stumbles upon a fantastic world of beasts where he's taken in by a gruff warrior beast looking for an apprentice, and that's the premise of it. Really laid out really well. But as far as the visuals are concerned, this is so detailed. Like the animation style is just as good, if not better, than Studio Ghibli. Any of those, if y'all know, you know, like there's so many different ones. I'm not gonna name them all. The last one I remember was The Wind Rises. That was his last one he had made, but this one is so polished and well detailed that when they get to like the fight sequences or even the training sequences, they're so seamless. Like it's like 1, 2, 3. Like it looked like it was crafted well. But then there were certain scenes that me and Joe were talking about that they blended anime and fine-tuned like shots so well that the background shots, they look real. Like I think there was this shot where it was like you saw this bicycle in the background and then you had the main character kind of looking. And it was just such an excellent, seamless shot. But even throughout all of Tokyo and Japan and locations, they take it outside of the realm of what I could have imagined. But what was your take on, I guess, the visual effects? Because you're an animator and you're the lover of all these things too. What were your things?
Well, thanks, Sam. Thanks for well, we're blowing whistles here, not sure. But what I thought about, I mean, it was really done. It was a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Hands down, it's a beautiful movie. Like there's like scenes where Rain as a child, he was like, when he first got introduced to like the beast world, there's like he was a scene where he was like crawling around the ground, and like you get to see him like crawling, like the perspective in which they shot it or had it. It was like he was going through like different pots and stuff like that. It was going through a market, basically. So there's a lot of different pots on the ground and stuff. Kind of had the 3D feel to it.
Yeah.
And not only that, there was another clip where he was walking through. He was in like downtown in the city, and like you could see like people. It was a crosswalk and there was a lot of traffic of people, pedestrians, and the way they had it at his like his viewpoint or his perspective, and he was a child, so all the like adults were like way taller than him. And I mean, I haven't really seen like a perspective like that done before, especially in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Or not a cartoon, but an anime. So, I mean, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
A really good job with this artistically.
they took advantage of the fact that this is an anime and not real world. Like a lot of animes, they try to mimic like the real world, but they don't take advantage of the fact that they are animes and that they could go and take shots that we could never even really see from a cinematographer standpoint. And even the music was actually really beautiful. They did a really good job with the score. Like the last part of the movie, it almost kind of, certain scenes almost brought me to tears, and they don't hold back from certain imagery and certain nudges as far as the pacing of the stories. And even like the voice actors, even though it was a Japanese dialect, like it was really emotionally driven. It was really funny. There's a lot of moments that they paced it so well. Like I was like, this scene's just kind of lingering on. I think when the Beast and Ren were kind of running around, that mess was so funny. But it's got a lot of symbolicism that we're going to try to go to as best we can without running too far over. But as far as the voice actors, like I said, a good segue, I think they did all a good job. I think that they all sounded different. They all had their own special moments, but specifically the character Ren, because we get to see him as a youth all the way up to his progression as an adult. And like it's just a beautiful story, man. Like the way that you see this boy in the beginning, there's no way that you can imagine him being what he ends up being towards the end. And I think that's the thing that kind of blew me away more than anything. But then he also had other characters such as the role of Katie, that he befriends a bit later on in his life. But specifically, his master or apprentice, as I said, I'm getting these names wrong. What is it? Kumatetsu? I totally got it wrong. But what did you think about his character? What were some of the characters, I guess, that stood out for you? I'm trying to get his names right.
I mean, his character was a good character. It's a very solid character.
Are you talking about the Beast?
Yeah, just because, I mean, the way, because when they're first introduced with one another, they're kind of like, you know, talk and engage one another. On first encounter, you notice that they play off each other really well.
They do.
And they form a unique bond because both of them are essentially kind of alone. Yeah. And they form a unique bond. So I think, and later on in the film, you'll see that, you know, through that bond, other people or other creatures, the beasts, they're taking notice, and, you know, they want to, you know, be trained as well. But even then, you're kind of thinking like, there's, you know, they have a unique bond that couldn't be duplicated or replicated. Yeah. You know, and it's really good to see on big screen.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I mean, anybody that gets emotional over father-son kind of like movies, or even like orphan-driven movies, like it's gonna pull at your emotional strings, because even the guy, the Beast, he's got like two like kind of proteges that kind of watch his back. The dude that's a monk, and then the dude that's a monkey, and the way that they all interact with Ren is just kind of unworldly. But you get the semblance of this is a real defined family. And even the Grand Master, the dude is hilarious, because he just pops out of nowhere, and it's this rabbit-looking guy, and it's like he's so wise, but at the same exact time, like he's really versatile. I really like the fact that all these different characters, they play out differently. They don't no character seems the same. Even like the rival of the Beast, what was his name? Is it Yukin? It's Y-O-K-E-N, I can't remember, but he actually is really different. Like, because it all starts off for their rivalry, really, that kind of sets things in motion, because there's a certain sequence that happens when they're fighting, and Ren is kind of watching it, and that's when everything changes from the dynamic of the film, and it's paced so well after that. But I guess let's go ahead into the story. What do we think about the story in general?
The story was great.
Yeah.
I give the story a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, with Wolf Children, you know, like, you had, like, the emotional strings because you got, you know, two children that are growing up with an absentee father, and the mother is left to take care of them. In Summer Wars, you know, you got, like, this boy that's connected with this family, he makes his own, and he dares to dream that he can, you know, be a part or even pull something to it. With this one, it's a totally different dynamic, because you got this kid that deals with tragedy in the beginning, that is homeless and has no one, you know, and then this random beast kind of looks at them. They're just randomly, casually talking like, I need an apprentice. You know, I don't care if it's a human or whatever. And then they see this kid. He's like, yeah, you got what it takes, or something to that regard. And it's like, it's so coincidental, you know what I'm saying, like how they interacted, first off, but the connection that they have is they're basically almost the same. It's like, not only do they need each other to survive, but they need each other to progress. And one of the messages through this movie that I think that I got is the fact that you can always have a teacher, you know what I'm saying? You can always have like a parent, but at a certain point in your life, there's been so much that they can teach you, then at that certain point you can actually teach them. And it's like the progression beyond that. Like, what do you do after you've learned everything from the person that's taught you from a young age, and groomed you to be something that you never thought you could be? How do you transcend that and go further than that without forgetting who they were and removing past your past? Because like a lot of people, I guess in life, we go through situations where we try to, you know, succeed really quickly or try to get here because of something that happened to us. And it can't just be that. You have to live for yourself. And the movie me and Joe were talking about, this has a lot of religious and methodic symbolicism in it that it grounds you. It really encourages you. I think one of the best lines that they had said is his master was talking to him, and he was like talking about training. And he's talking to him about a sword, basically. And he's like, look, you have to wield the sword. Like, you got a sword in your heart. And he's like, what? And at first it kind of hit me, because I was like, whoa, what is that? What is he getting at with this? Well, we might end up having to talk about this on the other channel, because I think there's going to be some religious stuff that we need to talk about. But after that point, that plays out so deeply towards the end of the film that it'll affect anybody that kind of looks at it on a large scale. But what were some things you want to talk about from the story other than like that moment, like that one? Because there was a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean the story. I mean, I can't really go into specific details.
Yeah.
But I mean, the story as a whole, it progresses. The timing of it is really it's well told. It's a well told story.
Yeah.
There's not any slow moments. Well, even when like there's no scenes where it's like no action or it's no fight scenes or anything like that. You're still like engaged in the movie. Yeah. And that's all done through the storytelling. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like from like a filmmaker's or animator's point of view, that's a tough thing to do. Yeah. And I think they did it pretty well. Yeah. Yeah, it was almost like seamless because we kept on, after we got out of the movie, I was thinking to myself, like, man, this kind of feels like, that scene that you kind of described, I felt like Aladdin, when Aladdin's getting out of danger, when he's like by himself with Iago and they're trying to get away with the lamp. Like that sequence like that reminded me of that. The symbolicism, even in The Lion King, like when, Simba is by himself and he meets up with Timon and Pumbaa, and he befriends them and makes family out of them. It takes away from a lot of great things that I've seen in animation cinema, but then it bridges it even further than that because the animation is impeccable, the timing was impeccable, and it's just such a rich story. Even towards the end, there are things that happen that you really will not expect. And I think these movies get away with that really well, specifically like Summer Wars. Like, imagine something like that in this one is going to happen, and it's going to give you that same kind of chill, like, what is really about to go down? But I can tell you it's got one of the best messages I've seen in a movie in a long time, and I definitely can't wait to own it whenever it comes out. Any final thoughts? Yeah, you definitely want to own this movie. After you watch it, you're like, I'm gonna buy this movie. So 10 out of 10? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's the first for both of us, giving something a 10 out of 10 at the same time. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed our non-spoiler review. If you want to know more about the movie, we might go into more details on our other channel, Jesus vs. Sin, and we might go into a more spoiler-filled talk about this movie. We're gonna cater it a different way though. Thanks everybody for watching. This is JVS. We ain't gonna stop. Talk to y'all later. Peace.